So we've been off for a minute, the
Yeah.
whole show and everything, and
Hmm.
we are kind of changing some things up on
Hmm.
how we do things and the cadence of the show, the topics and issues and stuff, and how we cover the show and how we perform each episode.
Absolutely.
Um, and part of that is just being like, yo, nigga, niggas need to slow down a little bit, right? Niggas need to
Yeah.
slow down a little bit. But dog, I
Hmm.
be looking at other people's stuff. I'm looking at all these people that like, they got. I'm looking at their work. I'm looking at their product, and I'm like, oh, I could do better than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Like, so it's like, but even if you know you could do better than that, they wherever they're at, they didn't get there overnight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Them niggas didn't wake up like that, so they had to
Hmm.
go do it from the infancy of some of these fucking spaces, right?
Hmm.
And now these spaces are well established, partly because of the freaking sweat and tears that they put in when
Hmm.
they were at this phase that we're at, right?
Hmm.
But even when we're talking about like production, I'm looking at our stuff and I'm like, our shit looks better than that. So
Yeah.
when you look at that and you look at the content overall and you see how like um it's just like it's head and shoulders above some of this other stuff that's getting numbers. It's like you feel some resentment, you
Hmm.
can feel some
Hmm.
resentment and be like, yo, I should be there, I should do that, I should be
Hmm.
like that, but at the same time, because you hold yourself to that higher standard, you also can skip some of the stuff. You got to put in those 10,000 hours, man, like Malcolm Gladwell
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And yeah, let's say your stuff is kind of nice right now, right? And even nicer than what other people were at when they're at your stage. That's just
Hmm.
gonna mean that your final form is gonna be that much doper.
Oh
So
yeah. Absolutely.
if you
Absolutely.
trust the process and just go through those steps, take your licks, what I mean, put in those hours, um, and take your time with it, you'll be fine in the end. I feel like
Hmm.
a lot of how come, we've developed over these past few seasons is um, we've done a lot of work. We put a lot of content together. We got a lot of material. We were probably doing too much.
Yeah.
We're
Absolutely.
probably doing too much. I don't regret
Yeah.
any of it because we did a lot of learning in the process. I know how to
Yeah. We
do
learned a
way
lot.
more editing kind of shit that I never knew how to
Hmm.
do before.
Hmm.
So because I love learning, I'm a forever student. So
Hmm.
all that is welcome. I welcome all those opportunities. Um, but for the good of having a chunk of back catalog, we can afford to now maybe take a step back and um, take our time with putting these things out a little
Hmm.
bit more into to allow the back catalog to do that work, right? And we have to do the work now of building up an audience to go consume that stuff. There's one
Yeah.
podcast that I'm listening to now that I came up on them on one random thing, and I was like, oh, yo, this is mad relevant. This is
Yeah.
mad to like me specifically. And I was like,
Mm.
yo, yeah, I've been doing this for how long? And then like the way that the show is kind of set up is they're telling pretty much the story of their life,
Hmm.
and it's like I know where you're at now, and this was interesting that you got me now, but like, how'd you get here? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
I went to the back catalog, and I've been
Hmm.
listening, and I've been slowly catching up,
Hmm.
for all the stuff that they put out, and this was like, oh, they just talk about getting COVID for the first time, and during lockdown,
Yeah.
and this dude talking about how he was
Yeah.
in lockdown with his then girlfriend,
Hmm.
who's well, she's not his fiance, but
Hmm.
like with his girlfriend at the time, he couldn't go see his parents, and his parents couldn't understand that. Like, this is early COVID, where people were like, no, I'm
Yeah.
gonna come through and help, and
Mm.
and take care of you. It's like, no,
Mm.
you really shouldn't, what I mean, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a conversation that happened years ago,
Hmm.
and I'm just now consuming it.
Hmm.
So that's the same thing that can happen for our stuff. And people are gonna, stumble on something today. Maybe it's the FIU clip, you know what I mean? Or maybe it's um the recent stuff about um a freaking what is it, Clarence Thomas. right?
Yep, yep.
Yeah, and then go back to and see some of our old stuff, what we said before, or even if we're talking about the mass count, like what was the mass count when they did this episode? You know what I mean, for the year, you know what I mean, this back episode or whatever. And so it's just, but we have a lot of content that's already out there that's good for somebody to like go to the back catalog, while we are still producing newer ones and at a slower pace to allow them to catch up and be part of the ongoing current version of ourselves.
I mean,
Another dope thing, real quick, I'll say is that
go ahead.
it's kind of dope when you go through the back catalog to see how
the progression
trash some of that stuff was. You know what I mean? And like,
but even then, it's still some of the stuff even back then was still better than some of the stuff we see now with some of these podcasts.
Yeah, that's true. You know that's true. We were ahead of the game, but like, our shit looks better now, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Our shit looks way better now.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact.
It looks better. It sounds better. We're more, you know what I mean? We're more in tune with our rhythm, you know, and you know, but yeah, so that's all. So that's a challenge, to just trust the process, know that's a process, to like slow down a little bit, you know what I mean? Just do your learning and take your time with it. And the stuff the work that you've already put in, trust that it'll help build the ultimate goal. You know what I mean? That we're trying to build here.
Yeah, no, that's good. And what's encouraging, I think, to me, is that good content is always going to be found. It's always going to be found. Obviously there are things you have to do around it to like attract, you know, the attention of folks to view it, because with this whole algorithm and all that stuff. But
yeah, that's all we're trying to figure out right now, is how to attract people to the stuff. The stuff is good,
but we know that we have the kind of content that can hook people because it's good content. You know what I'm saying? It's just, and that's just what it is. So I think I know that we have a good product that we've been able to give to you folks, and the kind of game that we've been talking. So, you know, I think it'll definitely. And also another thing is, like, even listening to the stories of other podcasters who have their success now, for a lot of them, especially some of the bigger ones, a lot of them it took some time. So it's like, so at the same time, it's kind of like, okay, it's not like we're behind the curve. We're kind of like, you know, we're riding the curve the way that it should be. But because of their mistakes, we can learn to get ahead of that curve faster, right? Because of the mistakes that they've done. But at least we're not lagging behind. We're not lagging behind.
We're not lagging behind them. But shout out to those podcasters that put out game on
the business. Absolutely. We appreciate
on the business. Appreciate that. You know, and everything that we learn throughout this process too. You know, at some point we're still rookies in it, but at some point we will we'll put out nuggets and stuff for those that stumble across us, and like, you know, and we might put them on onto game too. So that's very helpful. So just keep and you know what I made sure to do though? I like their videos, to give them another like. I actually hit that like button to give them that little bit of credit. They're giving me some game here, you know, and so I appreciate that. So I actually like it, so that helps them. It's it's so minimal. So minimal. I could subscribe. I don't know about that. I'm not subscribing to everybody like that, but at least I could do is like it. So that's the same thing I ask for our audience, is like, especially if you watch, especially if you view it. It really makes me like, dang, question, like, was this something I said? You know what I mean? You watched it, you know what I mean? And so like, but you ain't like it. You ain't hit the like button. You might have liked it, but you ain't hit the like button. You know, I was talking to somebody else about that the other day. It's like, oh yeah, I really like this one thing you're talking about, but did you hit the like button? They're like, oh yeah, you don't think I did. What up, fam? It's Darwin, the guy that was just talking. First off, thanks for watching and supporting the show. But I gotta give y'all some homework. Your challenge, if you choose to accept it, is to interact with the show. That means 1, hitting that like button, because I know you like our stuff. 2, make sure you subscribe so we can swim our way up your timeline whenever we drop new content. The third thing, please share the channel with your friends. Maybe they'll learn a thing about a thing or two. Oh, last thing, we're over here talking about what y'all talking about. So go ahead and carry that conversation on into the comments. We be up in there too.
One of the things I've mentioned this before a couple of times on the podcast is just traveling, right? The importance of traveling and enjoying yourself when you travel, right? Like really immersing yourself in different cultures and going out, stepping outside, and just kind of viewing how people, you know, interact with each other, and, you know, tasting the foods, partaking in events or whatever, right? And just sightseeing and all that. But it's
You know,
important to
somebody
just
told me today that I was thinking about that is,
mm,
and I didn't really fully appreciate this,
mm,
the difference between traveling and vacationing.
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
And that
is this vacations you're talking about or traveling?
this would be you can put it in the category of a vacation because technically it I mean I wouldn't qualify as a vacation. For me, a real vacation is something that's like 7 days or longer. So to me, this is more of like a staycation, but like a debrief from the world in a way,
Mhm.
right?
Okay.
So it's more of like a debrief for me. Like it just take a couple of days just
A
to
disconnect from
yeah, a disconnect. Yeah, that's
yeah.
been like a disconnect. So this is more like a disconnect for me. So because I'll be traveling during Labor Day weekend. I mean, you're also traveling too. So, but I'll be traveling a couple hours away or whatever, just to completely disconnect and just honestly, low key, I'm gonna look around and see, see the environment, whatever. But like just completely disconnect, you know what I'm saying? Not have work and relationships and all these different things
Yeah.
on my mind,
You
right?
taking Danny
Uh,
with you?
no, so I have some friends gonna be looking after Danny. Actually, they actually
Okay.
wanted to look after him. So
So you
I
really don't
was
want no responsibilities that
yeah.
weekend.
No, because I actually wanted to take Danny with me. I wanted to, but the Airbnb I'm staying at said they don't allow pets. So I was like, oh, okay, well, so
You
I have to.
bastards.
Yeah, I was.
You don't need to give
I
those
ain't
people
gonna.
money. You don't allow
Yeah,
dogs? Those people don't need your money, man. I don't
but
support nobody that
you,
don't like dogs, dog.
yeah, what kind of blew me about it though. At the same time, was like I looked for several spots because I was like, nah, man, I gotta find one that's gonna accept pets.
Yeah.
But so many people, so many Airbnb, it's like they are less lenient when it comes to pets now. I guess maybe it's become a
I
thing
mean,
where
I
like it's
get
more
it. People, the
responsibility and
next guest
cleaning
might
and
have, yeah, the cleaning might be a thing, and the next
earning
people might
more.
have allergies or some
Mm-hmm,
shit to
mm-hmm,
it. I get it, but like,
yeah,
if it's the cleaning thing, you're worried about the pet doing something. Like, that's what the freaking clean
yeah.
fees
That's
they
what the cleaning
charge.
fee
You
is
just
for,
charge
and
them
the
extra. You
yeah,
charge them extra $100, to
yeah,
clean up because they had a pet. Like, oh, you can have pets, but
mm-hmm,
we're automatically gonna put an extra, $50 cleaning fee. You know
mm-hmm,
what I mean? Just because you have
mm-hmm,
pets, and so you,
yeah,
as a customer, you'd be like, well, okay, I'll pay it or I
yeah,
won't pay it.
yeah. I would
Or
have
I'll
taken that
bring my
hit.
dog. I won't bring my dog.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. If I board my dog for 3 days, it's gonna cost me $360, $350.
Right.
Or I could pay an extra $50 cleaning fee. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Just give people the option.
Like
Yeah.
it's nothing to think about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they were
So
like,
so
don't
you
take that off.
traveling.
I'm like, okay.
So you're not taking a
So
dog. You going alone by yourself?
yeah. So I'm going by myself, right? So that's essentially what this challenge is, more of like being more open to doing that. Like I know so many folks, man, that they travel alone like all the time, like internationally, all of that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
like I never really liked traveling alone internationally. Like I travel alone like within the states, but like internationally, I never liked that because it's like, damn, I'm in a whole nother country,
No backup.
no back, you know what I'm saying? No back, you know what I'm saying? Like I never, but I know people who literally do that. Like they go to a different country, they by themselves, like they just,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I think that's a little arrogant. That's a little arrogant. But if you're a person who's like well traveled and who's hip on like where you're going, obviously you're doing your research or whatever. Well, number one, there's only so much research you can do. But at the same time, if you're comfortable doing that, do your thing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not knocking anybody that does that. But for me, I never really felt comfortable doing that. But I kind of wanted to step out my comfort zone and do that at some point, right? And this trip itself is like one of the things that's kind of like my mini step to like doing something like that. Like, all right, let me go to this spot a couple hours away, hang out, chill, and then I'll upgrade it to like, okay, let me go to I don't know
Somewhere
Mexico
further.
or somewhere further out. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, or let me go to whatever, just to kind of keep testing. And then I'll be like, okay, let me go to I don't know, Philippines. Let me go, you know what I'm saying? Like Japan or something like that, whatever. So like a place that's completely outside of my comfort zone, right? Like, which would be a place like Japan, right? Even though
Yeah.
there's a lot of expatriates who are in Japan, but like just being in a whole different culture, right? Like, so I'm kind of like gradually getting there, but like that's been my challenge though. I think is just like being comfortable doing that. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, man, when you're traveling by yourself, you ain't gotta wait on other folks. You can arrange it yourself.
You
You
ain't gotta
you know your
have
own schedule.
schedules to freaking
Yeah.
coordinate.
Mm-hmm. So it's
You
it's
know?
it's
Yeah.
it's all on you. You know what I'm saying? You move how you move. It's all on you. So like there is a lot of benefits to doing that. But I've also always liked traveling with people because it's like it makes the experience more fun. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like these are people that you, especially if it's people that you have like real
Rock with.
relationships with. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That you really rock with. That you know is looking for a good time as well. So like so that's why I've always like traveling with folks. But I think I'm gonna take that up. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm gonna take that up. Even Tatiola was like, Jeff, you should definitely travel more, even if by yourself, just travel more. Or if you want to take somebody, you can take somebody. But like, she was like, make sure you do that, do as much as that as you can.
Yeah, they
And
travel a
it's
lot.
yeah, and it's
But they travel
they do. She
together though. But they travel a lot.
yeah. And it's funny because she just randomly told me that. I didn't even ask her anything about that. She was like, Jeff, you should be doing that. And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, I plan on doing that. But for her to just randomly out of nowhere tell me that, it kind of was like, okay, maybe I should be considering doing that more often. You know what I'm saying? It probably is something that she's really just been like preaching to people for sure, especially like if you don't have any kids and all that stuff. So
she really, when she called me to tell me she wanted to come through, she didn't know it was my birthday. She was just traveling. She was just like, "Hey, I think this is a good time to come visit you.
Yeah.
You know, what do you think?"
Cool.
And I was like,
"That's cool.
That works. It's my birthday."
Yeah,
like, why not? You know, come through.
That's awesome.
That's
awesome.
kind of how it happened. Yeah. So she made it here.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope how that works out.
Works out.
That's dope. But yeah, man, it's the traveling alone, man. I definitely because it's also a thing of like there's so many places I want to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, and there's so many places I feel like by now I should have been there by now. Like, I still haven't been to Europe yet, and I'm like, come on, man. Like, you should.
I still haven't been to Canada. That one's kind of weird for me.
Yeah, I ain't gonna. That's kind of crazy. I haven't been to Canada either. Like, that is kind of weird for me too. Like, so I still haven't been there. I still haven't been to Costa Rica. You know, everybody and mama been to Costa Rica, so I haven't been there. Like my first time going to Africa was last year. My very first time, which is I've told people this and they've almost got offended. like yeah. I'd be like, what? I was like, yeah, no, it's been long overdue. Yeah. But so it's and I plan on making quite a few more trips. I definitely want to go to
but the thing, I mean, it's not like we're on the, well, I guess there's always a timeline. You don't know, tomorrow could be the last day or whatever, but like we're on pace. We're still young, you know what I mean? And like the best place to start, the best time to start is always today. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you didn't start yesterday, the next best time is today. You know, and you miss today, that next day, and so you start and you're gonna get one under your belt, and then you gotta start at 1, and then 2, then 3. Then it just you should. I hope I don't know if I hope maybe you don't feel some kind of
obligation
keeping up with the Joneses kind of thing, because friends are traveling or social media shows people traveling and stuff, and you gotta feel like, oh, I should be doing this thing too. It's an expensive habit. I'm gonna tell you that much.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean? And so like you gotta, if you are doing it because your love for wanting to see the world, then that's then that's cool. That's dope. But like just gotta make it to where you're not. And I'm not saying you projecting specifically, but whoever out there could be thinking that they feel like they have to do it because it's kind of sort of like keeping up with the Joneses kind of thing, and that can lead to you
good point.
to you going over your skis a little bit, you know what I mean, like balling off your budget, you know what I mean, like out of your budget, and and them chickens will come home to roost eventually. That rent, that landlord is gonna come calling, you know what I mean, or that student loan payment, which are gonna come calling, you know what I mean, they're coming back. So, let's do these things within our means, and the things that we want to do, we should still be able to do them, but like plan for them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Absolutely. Don't just be like throwing money out, you know what I mean, making it rain like you got it like that, and if you don't, because that bit's gonna be a rude awakening.
Yeah.
So
honestly, that was one of the reasons why I was like, let me get a couple at least out the way, because that student loan. So I was like, but the thing is though, like I'm not an idiot. Like I was actually putting money away. There's no trip that I ever took that I didn't save towards. I literally saved towards every trip I've taken. Yep. So I'm going on a trip I'm debt free every trip I go to. It's not like I'm gonna put this on the card and I'm gonna pay it off. It's like, no, the trip and all the essentials that go with it have all been taken care of already because I already put the money aside for it. Right. So like you gotta be, and I was still, even with that, I was still investing, putting money into my savings. I was still doing all those things. Right. But what that requires is obviously being disciplined enough to be able to budget properly. You know what I'm saying? And like don't just forsake these other things because you want to go on this trip. But like, so I'll still being disciplined in that area as well. So I definitely understand what you're saying. I definitely looked at it that way. to just obviously be smart about it and not get, wrapped up in that as well, obviously in that type of a thing. So, but for my challenge, that's what it is, and it is a challenge that I have accepted, and I believe that I'm conquering it because again, I am putting step towards traveling alone.
And doing it responsibly.
Yeah, but exactly, doing it responsibly. That's the key. So.
Oh, you like that? You like that, didn't you? Well, for more clips, click here.
Absolutely, and for the full show, click here.
I can't even see your hand.
Oh crap.
Vaca! Vaca!